So Dan, what do you want to call this show?
I don't know. I feel like I'm getting poked, so poke the gorilla.
Oh yeah, you're the gorilla.
Yeah, I'm the gorilla. Yeah. Yes.
So what's the gorilla today?
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's start with something national.
Let's start with
that
something
had really got my attention. I'm curious what your take is on it.
Okay.
You know that about a week ago, Sarah Huckabee Sanders got thrown out of a restaurant, or the owner of the restaurant in Virginia asked her to leave because she was part of the Trump campaign. Remember that?
Well, remember, I just came back from a vacation.
Oh, you didn't hear about that?
I came back from a vacation in Mexico, where I turned off all my notifications because I was on vacation. So no, I didn't. So tell me what happened.
Well, what happened was her and her family went to a restaurant in Virginia. And the owner came up and said, I want you to leave because you're a member of the Trump campaign and we hate Trump. So she was asked to leave, so she did. She got up and left.
Okay.
Then they went across the street. She and her husband went home. Her family went to a restaurant across the street. And apparently the owner of that restaurant followed them across the street and heckled them at the restaurant across the street. But anyway.
Okay.
All right. So what happened was Maxine Waters, the rep from California, decided that was a great jumping off point. So what she started to do was calling for the harassment of administration officials. And basically what she said was, if you see them at a restaurant, at a gas station, at a market, that you get out and you gather a crowd and you harass them.
Right.
So my question is for you, do you think there's any justification for calling for that kind of violence? Does she have the right to do it? I think the question is whether or not the First Amendment fits in there.
Sure. And obviously, to me, this is a response to the concern around certain racial indiscretions that have happened in restaurants and whatnot that people perceive, and they're calling. This seems to me more of a tit for tat, eye for eye type thing. And there's a lot of people that really believe in that. I don't necessarily believe in that, but I can understand why that response feels appropriate to some people. Now, I don't think it should happen to anyone. I don't think it should happen. I don't think it should happen on the left or the right.
Right.
And I don't necessarily think that a retaliation is the appropriate response.
If it happened on the right, everybody would be blowing up. The media would be going crazy.
I mean, not to politicians.
No,
not to politicians.
Not to that level.
And those are the targets right now for the left. The right is since the right is in power, so to speak, the politicians are targets. And again, if you were to say, well, that hasn't happened, and people would reference certain incidences of minorities being targeted in the same manner.
But my question is, and I guess where I'm trying to find the correlation is with this moron from California.
Okay.
First of all, where did she get off telling people to be harassed? Number one. Number two, she actually doubled down on it. She blamed President Trump. Oh yeah, he's created a culture of dishonesty and blah blah blah. So you have every right in the world. Oh, come on now. Enough is enough. Do me a favor. If you're going to have that kind of position on the left, and the right does it, first of all, it shouldn't be happening on either side. There should be decorum. There should be civility, and there is none. And by the way, it's they blame it on the right. Baloney. It's on both sides, and more so it seems on the left. Now, I don't condone that. I don't see how anybody could possibly condone that kind of crap happen in this country, especially with somebody that's working for an administration that believes they're doing the right thing. And frankly, for the most part, I think they are. Okay. But for a woman to be harassed because she happens to have a particular job, come on, that's stupid. That's just dumb.
No, I would agree that I don't think that's appropriate.
Not at all. Hey, we agree.
Well, we agree on that, and the issue here, I think, comes down to the thing that's been in my sphere of influence lately, is this idea that the political level of discussion in and of itself is a level of discourse that doesn't exist by itself. There are other levels of discourse, and one of the things that's come to across my purview, and this will tip my hat, especially I've been listening to people like Sam Harris, Jordan Peterson, which would paint me with a particular brush. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I appreciate about what they're trying to talk about is a different level of discourse where you can actually have differences of opinions.
Yeah.
The problem is it doesn't work in politics in a lot of cases because
Only
politics
recently. Well,
is a game. I would disagree with that too.
It's happened before.
It's
It
happened
back
before,
in
and
the
it
60s.
didn't just start with this administration
No.
or the last administration.
No.
It's been argued. You could argue, that certain seeds were sown ever since Reagan, but that's
Actually, it goes before that.
Or even
if
before
you think
that.
about the Vietnam War,
Or, yeah,
the
right. So
division
you
in this
could look
country
at-
during the Vietnam
right,
War
right.
was worse than it
You
is
could
now.
look at Nixon and before, right?
And
so,
Johnson and
Johnson.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean it's much different. But
Of course, then
now, if I
making
may-
messes of myself.
Yeah, good shot. Thank you. It'll crust up. Anyway, let's bring it to local politics in
Okay.
terms about how crazy it gets. Maura Walsh is a representative from Providence. She's a quote-unquote progressive.
Okay.
She did not get the endorsement from the Democratic Party because she has a gentleman named Earnhardt, I believe, who's running against her, who did get the endorsement. Now, by her own admission, she didn't ask for the endorsement, but she was angry because she didn't get it.
Okay.
And they're saying it's because she's a woman, that there's an anti-woman, actually it was Regenberg, who's running for lieutenant governor, who said that it was an anti-woman sentiment. So what's happening is now, you can have a logical conversation about why she did or did not get the endorsement. Frankly, the reason she didn't is because she called out Mattiello. She claimed that everybody up there is constantly drinking and drunk. Well, of course she's not going to get the endorsement. Come on, you beat the crap out of them and then you want to get the endorsement? But bringing it to a local position, the fact is that she as well is pulling that identity politics stuff.
Oh well, yeah, but that's the
come
name of the
on.
game these days. I mean,
It
it's
doesn't
interesting you
work.
talk about that because, as you know, one of our previous partners is prominent in the Rhode Island Progressive Democrats.
Yep.
And they're talking about that a lot in their sphere about what female candidates are getting endorsements and whatnot. And I can't claim to know the positions behind people. I mean, I can appreciate the sentiment that that if you're not towing a party line to some degree,
Yeah.
if you're not towing a party line, you're not going to get the endorsement. I mean, the sentiment, the opposition to the sentiment, I should say. I appreciate the sentiment. I understand why the sentiment probably exists, meaning you don't toe a party line, thereby you don't get an endorsement. And a lot of I don't know. Again,
Why is that a mystery?
It's not really. I think it comes down to having if you're going to play a game and you want to play outside of the rules, it's going to be a challenge to break
Suffer
into
the
the game.
consequences.
Not that it can't happen, but there's going to be.
If you have a good message.
Yeah, right, exactly. However, if inherently in that type of game, if you're trying to play outside of the bounds of the rules, there's possibly not going to be a high percentage of people that win at that game. Now, and I think what a lot of more progressive people are looking, they want more women. There was even a call to for certain white male candidates to step aside.
Yeah, I know. That's
In
ridiculous.
favor of female candidates.
I would rather have good candidates than a male,
And I don't-
female,
I don't
upside
really
down
know.
dogs. It doesn't matter.
I don't
if
know-
they're a good candidate.
Sure, I don't know
Shouldn't
whether
matter.
or not. I don't know the candidate, so I can't say. I would agree. I would prefer the better candidate over a particular demographic.
Yeah, well, Jesus.
But I also don't know. They could all if they were equal candidates, then maybe I could agree with. Well, let's try to get a different type of candidate in there. But again, without knowing, it did seem to me to be a strange request. Not a strange request, but a request that it didn't have enough behind it, in my opinion. Like
request,
I
you mean,
a
for the
request
endorsement?
for certain candidates to step aside.
No, that's ridiculous.
You know what I mean? Like I couldn't get behind it by itself. I could get behind it with a little bit more context potentially. But anyway, but yeah. So I mean, ultimately, these the issues we're wrestling.
Oh, we got more to deal with.
Yeah, there's more to deal
Hey,
with.
you hungry?
Yeah.
This looks like a nice joint.
Yeah, this is feast. Have a sandwich and prepare for our next conversation.
Oh no. All right.
All right.